Yeah, real quick, I got to get started.
Yeah. Would you say those little red-headed sparrows were? Was that the tree?
Oh, the tree sparrows.
Okay.
Yes, American tree sparrow.
American tree sparrow.
Yep, you got it. Okay. Good morning. Welcome. We are full in here. That is for sure. Wow. Well, a good morning to you all, and welcome to Hemlock Crossing, to the Nature Center here. My name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist and Program Supervisor with Ottawa County Parks, and this is Coffee with the Birds. This is the Birding Tidbits portion. A portion of the crowd here attended the live in-person feeder watching session from 9:30 till about 10:20. Those of you who were here for that, you can raise your hand. All right. Good portion of you. And now we have this to split this program for everybody to join together. And then after this program, I will be doing another feeder watching session over here. Who intends to attend that? See, there we go. This is a mixture of all of you. So thank you. Coffee with the Birds is a program that we do December through March, one Saturday a month, to engage the birding community, anybody who loves birds. Okay, this is not just for the elite bird chasers that, you know, do the a big year kind of thing, if you've ever seen the movie, and go all around. And it's for those people, but it's also for people who just enjoy watching the birds in their backyard, or just have an interest and a curiosity about birds. This is a place for everybody. So I want to welcome you all to Coffee with the Birds and to the Birding Tidbits presentation. This is an opportunity for me to provide a bite-sized presentation on anything bird-related. And I like to vary the topic from season to season and from event to event. And so, let's see if I can get that on there. There we go. There we go. And generally speaking, we like to represent the stories that of the photographers that were in our photography contest, that the winners. I also like to do birding stories of some of my birding adventures. That will be next month. And we also do a profile of the winning bird photo, so the species, so the American avocet. That was something I profiled in December. So we like to vary the topic a little bit, so we're not just on one thing. And generally, one of the topics is bird identification, or some birding resource to help you know more about birds and birding here, in particular here in Ottawa County. And so we'll do an identification class on, you know, how do you identify the waterfowl of Ottawa County, or the sparrows of winter here in Ottawa County? Or sometimes we do something like this, winter birding in Ottawa County. So this is more of a general class. We're not going to get into the specifics of the identification of all of the species, but what I'm going to do is provide you information on where to go in the winter to look for birds. So when you are having cabin fever, right, and want an excuse to get out, and you're, this is something you can do here in Ottawa County, and I will show you a little bit of how to do that. Oh, but wait. There's been a takeover. Winter birding in New Mexico. No, this is just a single slide. But for those of you who know me, I go birding other places too. And I had to put this in there because a couple weeks ago I got back from New Mexico and did some birding there. And I will probably in the future do a presentation on birds of Mexico. A lot of you know that I am going for 50 birds in all 50 states by the time I'm 50, which is a little over 2 years from now. And I've got about a dozen states to go. And New Mexico was one of them. And so I went to Albuquerque and got to see birds like black rosy finch, as well as the gray-crowned rosy finch. Both of those were lifers for me. Greater roadrunner I had seen before, but never as good as this. Gambel's quail right here, real up close and personal at Bosque del Apache Wildlife Refuge in the Arboretum. Really fun to watch. And my final species of owl to see in North America. So I had heard the northern pygmy owl before, but I had never seen it. And it was the last of the 19 species of breeding owls in North America that I had not seen, and I got to see it. So I finished the 19, And next weekend, I might actually be looking at other species of owls that I've already seen before, but would love to see again. I'm tentatively going to go on a trip up to Duluth and up to Sax-Zim Bog. So Mike and I, that's my travel partner. We go birding together, so I might be going up to Sax-Zim Bog next weekend, hopefully, because they've been seeing a lot of owls up there. We got the snow geese flying. We got the sandhill cranes with the sunset and the mountains. Just beautiful scenery down there. And of course, here's all the sandhill cranes standing on the ice, because I was there when it was the super hard freeze here. So guess what? I got sunshine when I was down there, but did I get warm temperatures? No. It was cold. It was cold down there. So, but it was fun nonetheless. I went to Cibola National Forest and Bosque del Apache National Wildlife Refuge. All right, so let's get back into winter birding here in Ottawa County, because not all of us are going to go to New Mexico every year, right? So how and where to find birds and which species to expect during winter here in Ottawa County. So where are the hot spots? Because in the breeding season, you can go just about anywhere. The door is wide open to finding all kinds of species and all kinds of various habitats. There's a lot more birds here, a lot more bird species when we get to April and May. But right now, it tends to be lower on the diversity scale. So you got to know where to go. If you just go walking out in the woods here at Hemlock Crossing, you might not see very many birds. You'll see more birds sitting here at the feeders than you will walking in the woods for an hour, okay? And that's just the truth of it. You got to know where to go. So first thing is bird feeders, right? Those of you who are here, that's why you're here maybe, right? To watch birds at the bird feeder. And also for community, it's also about the donuts, don't lie. But bird feeders are an awesome place to look for birds in the winter. The other places are lakes, rivers, and channels. So anywhere there's open water. And we're going to go over that. Ooh, what happened there? And the last place that got cut off on the screen there is actually the open farmlands of Ottawa County. So different birds in different places. What do you see at the feeders? Well, goldfinches, right? Here's the feeder station here, which you just saw. Right? We don't have to belabor that, but this is our feeder station at the Nature Center. And who doesn't want to, when it's cold outside, sit in a warm building, sip some coffee or hot chocolate, and watch the birds come to you, right? I'm not going to lie, I love it. It's fun. And what do you expect to see? Black-capped chickadees, tufted titmice, white-breasted nuthatch, cardinals, blue jays, mourning dove, downy and hairy woodpecker, as well as red-bellied woodpecker, goldfinch, housefinch, and a lot of people get house sparrows. We don't get them here at the Nature Center, thankfully, but that is also another common species seen at our feeders. So there are local resident birds. The resident birds are the birds that are here year-round. And again, we're not going to go into depth about each species, but these are some of the regulars that you can see at your feeders. So what other birds could you see during the winter time at your feeders? We talked about red-breasted nuthatch during the live stream, right? We're not getting them at the feeders here, but others just up the road are. It's not fair. We need to have them here. But red-breasted nuthatches often visit in the winter, and historically have last winter and this winter not at our feeders here. So if you come expecting red-breasted nuthatch, I'm sorry, but we're probably going to disappoint. But they are out there, and they do visit feeders, in particular in the wintertime. Our winter visitors are junco and American tree sparrow. We saw both of those today at the feeders, and you won't see them at other times of the year. And also, pine siskins. So the pine siskins here in the picture, we have had one mixed in with the goldfinches this year, and mixed in with that is one common redpoll. So this was taken here at the Nature Center, but only periodically do we get to see common redpolls here in Ottawa County. They're kind of rare, but in some winters, they can be everywhere. That's kind of a rare winter to have, an exciting winter to have. But if you see a little guy with a yellow beak, black face, and a little red pole on the head, give me a call. Give me a call. And we also witnessed this, if you were in the live stream or if you were in person. we saw a Cooper's hawk, presumably, fly through and perhaps grab something or miss. I had my head turned, so I missed it. It all happened in a split second. But they hunt the feeders. It's a bird feeder, right? So it feeds birds that eat seeds, but it also feeds the birds that eat the seeds. So it also feeds the birds that feed on the birds that eat the seeds, okay? So it's feeding all of the birds, okay? And the birds weigh in the balance, you know, cost-benefit analysis here. Is it worth it for me to keep going to the feeder or not? And if they keep coming to your feeder, they know that cost-benefit ratio is yes. It's worth it to come back to the feeder. So I kind of let that be as it is. Generally speaking, the Cooper's hawk here or the sharp-shinned hawk here, which is a smaller kind of a version of Cooper's hawk, and there's debate now, or it seems like it's settled that Cooper's hawk is actually not categorized with sharp-shinned hawk any longer. But they will hunt a feeder for a little while and then keep moving on because they know that the birds get used to them coming to the feeder and become more wary, and then they become harder to catch. So if you're having an issue with a Cooper's hawk, give it a little bit of time. Don't panic. Usually they move on, or they just come periodically and the birds just know to look for them. So just a little bit about attracting birds and how, so that you can view them even at your own homes in the wintertime. This is real brief. I've got a whole presentation on this, but just think like a bird, okay? If you're a bird, what are the things you want? And in order to enhance your wintertime birding here in Ottawa County, attract them to your own yards. I say start at DeBrine's because that's where I like to go. Get some seed, get some feeders, get them out there. Because what do they think? What are the three things they need? Food, water, and shelter, right? So food, boy, the formatting got mixed up on here. Food, water, and shelter are the things you need. You got it. You graduated your elementary ecology class. That's awesome. So black oil sunflower seed is the #1 seed that I recommend. This is in the hull, but you can also get the kind that is the heart only, with less mess, and the birds really like it because they don't have to work to get the seed out. So black oil sunflower seed is the best. Thistle or black Niger seed or a finch mix in a thin finch tube feeder is a good idea. And then also suet. Those are the three that I recommend to start off with. If you're going to start off with one, do black oil sunflower. 2, I would move to suet. And 3, if you want to get a finch mix, that's good. And then also I like to throw some stuff on the ground. And I get the Junco mix from DeBrine. It's basically millet, cracked corn, and some black oil sunflower seeds. Because some birds like to feed on the ground. Mourning doves, the juncos, the tree sparrows. If you feed them in different places, you'll get more birds. And then, of course, water as well. Again, the formatting got mixed up on here. That says water. You can get these little plug-in bird baths that keep the water above freezing temperature. Just make sure that if you do that, you keep them clean because birds are not really clean. And they go and they do all the things that they do in the water there, and then they drink it too. So keep that really clean, or you can do something fancy like what we've got here at the Nature Center. You can have running water going through a filter, and that running water actually doesn't really freeze much until we get about 20 degrees or colder because of the movement, which is really nice. And if it gets that cold, then we do have a heater that we keep, that we plug in and to keep the water from freezing up. But even the sound of running water attracts birds in. They hear it and they say, that's a place that I want to be. So the sound of running water, and this applies to not just in the winter, but any time of the year. And shelter, a brush pile. Your old Christmas tree that you tossed out mine's still sitting on my porch in the back. I gotta get it in my brush pile in the backyard. But they have to have a place to hide, okay? To feel safe. If you put a feeder out in the middle of a green grassy lawn, 50 feet from anything to perch on, those birds are like, because they're thinking about that Cooper's hawk, right? They're thinking about that cat. They're thinking about the things that are going to keep them from being able to be safe out there. So they need a place to escape to. So brush piles with space in them. You can make them as pretty as you want. You can plant shrubs and things, native shrubs, of course, is what we promote here. But you can pile up the trimmings from your trees, things like that, so that the birds have a place to escape from the feeders and hide out. So those three elements, food, water, and shelter, if you think about those and how to provide those, you'll have some birds at your feeders in no time. Oh, yeah, I had that that's a Cooper's hawk. See how the dark head and the lighter colored back? Like I said in the session over there, that's how you identify a Cooper's hawk. Okay, so we've got it at the Nature Center in the wintertime, and of course, you know, as we change seasons, we're going to change birds. And one of the reasons why we have so many birds here, this is the Nature Center, and we're at a crossroads of habitats. So we've got the meadow habitat, we've got the forest habitat, and we've got the river right here. So if you're wondering why we've got so many birds, some of it has to do with that we keep the feeders full, but also because we've got a mixture of good habitats for the birds to already be here. And there's the wildlife den. We don't need to belabor that because you all are here because of Coffee with the Birds. And this is where, if I'm giving this presentation elsewhere, I say, come to Coffee with the Birds. You all have gotten that message. You're here or you're online, and we do bird feeder watching tidbit presentation, which I'm doing right here. So thank you. Tell your friends, come, coffee, donuts, all the rest. You know the deal. Photo contest, right? Mug club for $25. You can join the mug club and support the program here, and you get a free mug. You can also go online to miottawa.org/birding, and there's all kinds of videos where you can see the previous episodes, right? Or live streams of Coffee with the Birds, and there's also places on there that you can view videos of other sorts. So, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So let's move on. So feeders, great place to go. Rivers, lakes, and channels. So Grand Haven and Holland are two great places to look for birds in the wintertime, because that's the interface between two river systems, the Macatawa and the Grand River, and Lake Michigan. And we typically have open water there. So birds to look for in these open water areas would be bald eagles, trumpeter and mute swans, sometimes tundra swans too, if you're lucky. Lots of gulls. Do you like gulls? You know you're really a bird nerd if you like to identify gulls, okay? But there are different types: herring, ring-billed, great blackback, glaucus, Iceland, black-legged kittiwake, which got cut off there. Waterfowl, lots of waterfowl here in the winter that we don't get during the spring and summer, okay? So common goldeneye, common and red-breasted merganser. This is the bird, if you were in the last session, those white birds that flew over the river, that was this right here. 3 common mergansers flew over the river out here. So if you go out for a walk later and you're on that bridge, take a look in the water. You might see common mergansers swimming there. They've actually got a green head. This looks black depending on the light. This is the red-breasted merganser. Here's the common goldeneye. And if you go to some of our lakes, especially if it gets cold and iced in, just those last remaining open water areas can look like this sometimes, with all kinds of waterfowl, including greater and lesser scaup, redhead, mallard, bufflehead, white-winged surf, and black scoter, and then long-tailed duck. And these are all species that are really winter visitors here. And you might get lucky. Boy, that really got, I don't even know what that's supposed to say, but my formatting got mixed up between computers. 4. I'm gonna look. Oh, I can't look now. Oops. Birds to look for. That's what it says. Birds to look for. I'm rolling with it. You know, I got no choice now. Barrow's goldeneye, like this guy right here. King eider, Common eider, harlequin duck. These are rare ones. If you're a birder, you're drooling right now because these are ones that you would love to. These have all been seen in Ottawa County, but not every year for sure. Rare birds. There we go. If you want to watch some videos on waterfowl identification in the winter, you can go on to the miottawa.org/birding website and click on the videos and it'll drop down. There'll be all kinds of different playlists that you can play, and you can find these videos there of long-tailed ducks out on Lake Michigan, common goldeneye challenge. Can you find the Barrow's goldeneye mixed in with the common goldeneye? And of course, winter waterfowl identification, which will help go through more depth with each species. So where do you go? Grand Haven is a great spot. Harbor Island here, the Grand Haven State Park along the channel here. If you dare, be careful walking here because it can be pretty icy and slick. But oftentimes, because of the wave action from the lake, this stays open. When this was a power plant, there was a warm water discharge, so this stayed open more consistently here too. But if it's open, this is generally a good area to find waterfowl, especially common goldeneyes and mergansers. And I will say, this pond, when it's open, when spring hits and the waterfowl start moving through again, sometime in March, especially late March, this is a really great spot to go because when this thaws, tons of waterfowl sit out on this pond right here. So that's a great spot to go as they're moving through. Grand Haven Channel, here's some pictures of it. You can see the open water here, and look at all the ducks in the Grand Haven Channel. Pigeon Lake, not just lake, Pigeon Lake. That's what this is. This is going to be changing in the future as well, but there's a this is Pigeon Lake right here. This is the Pigeon River, and the nature center is off the screen over here, so we're not very far. If you go up to Croswell and head out to the lake shore and drive down here, you can get to Pigeon Lake. There's a DNR boat launch here that you can see. There's also a little boat launch on the south side here over by Sandy Point, the restaurant. If you kind of go around behind, there's a little public launch here. And this lake is very good for waterfowl, especially since there's warm water discharge from the power plant, which will be changing. This is really the last winter we're going to have that because they're going to be shutting down operations in May. But then they also have a bubbler out here where they put water going out into Lake Michigan. You can see the bubbler right here, and that actually agitates the water. So even in really, really cold weather where the Lake Michigan freezes up, you still have open water out here. And I have a really, really beautiful picture of that in here somewhere. Actually, it's really not. But you can see it freezes up, and then you have open water in just certain places, and you can get all kinds of ducks like this here. These are taken on Pigeon Lake here. All the common goldeneyes here, redheads, scaup. And then these are the bubblers. So in a really cold winter, like I said, really good picture here. Okay, this is the bubblers right here. Open water, it's all ice out to there. And so thousands and thousands of common goldeneye can be out there. Really fantastic birding in the right conditions. And Lake Macatawa. Big lake here, lots of opportunities for open water. And of course, it used to be more open down here. Power plant is no longer there. So the water can freeze up here now. But anywhere you get open water on the lake here, Collin Park is a good place to view. Dunton Park here, back behind DeBoer Bakery. I wanted to say DeBrine Bakery. DeBoer Bakery. Dunton Park is a good place for bald eagles. Yep, out here, sitting on the ice, hunting the little open patches of water for waterfowl, for gulls, for fish. And then Holland State Park and Black Lake Boardwalk. If you didn't know, that's an Ottawa County park that kind of shares boundary with Holland State Park. And so that walkway along the north side of Lake Macatawa there is Ottawa County Parks. And that's a really good place to look for waterfowl. They often like the area over here, if you've got a scope, because these docks at the marina over there have bubblers and keep the water open. So even when everything else is frozen, you can still see waterfowl there. And then if you want to venture out to To the lake, it may look like this, but look at the open water here. So excellent birding. This is a case where you can see the waterfowl over here, just barely, but this is all frozen here. And that's where you'll see long-tailed ducks and mergansers. Sometimes you'll see scoters, things like that mixed in. The closer you are to the lake, the more you see the long-tailed ducks and the scoters and things like that. Finally, open farmlands. Did you know that you could go birding in open farmlands and actually see some unusual bird species? Now, we're not going to accumulate lists of 20, 30, 40, 50 species, maybe 20 species in one trip to the open farmlands in the winter, but you're going to find really cool species. So one of them that's probably the most popular is the snowy owl. They love these open farm country areas. The area between here and Zeeland, as you head to the southeast, there's a lot of farm country out there. Coopersville is also a good spot. I'm getting ahead of myself here because these are the birds to look for, and then I'll tell you where. Rough-legged hawk is a winter species here. American kestrel, red-tailed hawk, northern shrike, there it is there. I'm not picturing them all here, but these are birds that you can see in the winter. One of them that is fun to find, on the dirt roads oftentimes you'll find these horned larks. They'll eat the gravel and the salts at the side of the road. They'll fly out into the corn stubble fields. They've got black tails, so when you see them flying off the road, you see a little brown bird with a black tail. That's a horned lark. Snow buntings. Do you see the snow buntings? They're sitting in the snow, so they're hard to see. You see the white and the brown. They're kind of white and brown in the winter, so they can be a little hard to see, but when they fly, you see the black and white pattern, you know that they're snow buntings. Lapland longspurs is another species that mixes in with those during the wintertime. And then what to look for. Does anybody recognize what this is right here? Manure. Birders like to go to places where, sewage treatment plants and all the rest, because that's where the birds go. When they spread manure on fields, these birds come in because they're picking the seeds out of the manure and things like that. They love it. So if you see or smell manure on the field, you might want to stop, roll down your window, get your binoculars up, and see if you can find some birds. And oftentimes geese and trumpeter swans will go and feed out in the fields as well. So if you're lucky, you can find them feeding out in the fields as well. And again, I've got some more videos on that, so go to the website here. I've got a winter birding farm field flocks with Lapland longspur, horned lark, and snow bunting all in at one time. That was a fantastic one of our bird trips. 2 weeks from now, I'll be leading a birding trip of winter birding in Ottawa County. I'll give you some more information on that. But here's a picture or a video of snowy owl, and also information on ethical viewing of snowy owls. Because they get so much attention, it's really good to do the viewing ethically and put the importance of the bird above the importance of our seeing it up close or getting a great photo of it. That's the gist of it, but you can find that video there as well. Where do you find the farmlands? This is the Port Sheldon farmlands, or I should say West Olive farmlands here. That's 31 over there, and you can just see the habitat here. Wide open farmlands. That's what it looks like in real time. That tree is no longer there, so the one tree that was there is now gone. Coopersville is great. So here's the sewage treatment plant. Here's the dump right along 96 here. South of Coopersville, the farmlands here are good places to look for these birds. There's also some north of Coopersville too. So if you want to venture a little bit further north, there's some good farmland up there as well. And I do want to, I thought I had a slide in there. Before I move on to the next thing, I do want to tell you, I have a birding field trip coming up in 2 weeks on the 22nd. It's a Saturday, and there's 2 sessions. There's one in the morning, 10 till 1, I believe it is, and then this afternoon session is 2 till 5. The first session is going to be waterfowl focused, and we're going to go to Pigeon Lake. The area on Pigeon Lake, and I'm going to actually go back. back in time here because I want to show you Pigeon Lake and how special an opportunity you'll get on Pigeon Lake. Boy, I'm going way back, aren't I? On Pigeon Lake, this is closed to the public here, and going out to the pier is closed to the public during the wintertime. I have special permission to go out there, and so with the waterfowl watching field trip, we will be going out to the pier here and looking at the water between the piers out here, which is often a good spot for birds. You never know from day to day which one you're going to see, but that is a good spot. So we'll be looking at the waterfowl on Pigeon Lake and the channel out here in the morning. And then if you want to sign up for both, there's room in both right now. There's plenty of space in both. In the afternoon, we'll be doing Birding the Barrens, which is birding the farmland to the southeast of us here. I'm looking for things like snowy owls and hawks and snow buntings and Lapland longspurs and things like that. So you can go online. Those are available for registration. There's a fee with each of them, but hopefully it's well worth it. We've got a few people signed up, but would love to see more. And now I'm going to skip ahead instead of making you all dizzy here. How can you get started? Well, you all are here, so I don't need to tell you to go to Coffee with the Birds, right? You figured that out. We do have, today is February 8th. We got March 8th coming up. Will be our last Coffee with the Birds for the season. So you're welcome to come to that or invite others to as well. Encourage others to participate. And, oh, I did have that in there, February 22. Winter waterfowl from 10 a.m. to 1, 2 to 5 p.m. is Birding the Barrens. And you can join us for a winter birding field trip. And historically, it's been like, we've had temperatures up in the 40s on that, which has been kind of nice, you know. It's a little sloppy out there, but. And then also next weekend, February 14 to 17, you can participate in the Great Backyard Bird Count. It's a citizen science project. You can participate and register and count birds at your local hotspot or your feeders in your backyard and contribute to the Great Backyard Bird Count and information that will go toward science and understanding birds and their movements and their populations from year to year. You can go to birdcount.org or just Google search Great Backyard Bird Count to participate. That is sponsored by Cornell Lab, Audubon, and Bird Studies Canada. And here's the website again, miottawa.org. You can find some resources on that website and more, and how to purchase your Mug Club membership if you want to do that. All kinds of information there. There's a hub to go to and know how you want to engage. And it looks kind of like this. You can sign up for the Birding Update newswire there, where it says sign up right here. Click that, and you get monthly-ish emails from me with all kinds of bird information. You get the links to the live streams if you're going to be live streaming it, etc. You can also find those on our YouTube channel. But this is kind of your reminder, and you get it in your inbox, and you can just click on it. So I encourage you to sign up for the Birding Update newswire. Other resources that are mentioned on the website are Merlin, the Birds of Ottawa County, Michigan, Sibley Bird Guide, like what resources to purchase to help in your birding, bird videos, local bird clubs, Coffee with the Birds, Mug Club information, all kinds of stuff. And with that, we're just a little bit after 11, so we're doing good. I want to thank you for coming. And are there any quick questions before we move on to the prizes over here? Yes?
Has the snowy owl been seen this winter?
So last winter we had 0, okay? And this winter there's been a scattering of reports, okay? Not very many, and the birds that have appeared haven't stayed there very long, and they're not setting up territory. There was one recently down by the Holland Airport just over the line into Allegan County, but there's not been any consistent right in our area. Typically, Muskegon Wastewater gets an owl, and I think they've had 1 or 2 there. That's one of the better places in lower Michigan to find them. But those owls get so much attention. In fact, people have gotten booted out of there because of their unethical approach to viewing the owls and photographing them. So I mean, if you go, watch my video first and keep your distance and give them the respect that they deserve. But yeah, there's not been a whole lot around this winter. If you were around 10 years ago birding, anybody remember it was 2014, 2015, right? We had a lot of snowy owls. You could go for a ride between here and Zeeland and see 10, 12 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. There was one time on one of these field trips, we had 4 in view at one time. So it fluctuates. They're eruptive. And sometimes when they've got a lot of babies that they make up in the Arctic and they're really well fed and everything, they don't have all the space and they come further south. It's actually not starvation. It's actually driven more by their increased population, and then we get a lot down here. So hopefully in the next few years we see a few more, but right now it's been kind of slow. One more question, yeah.
When will that bubbler in Lake Michigan shut down when the power plant shuts down?
I'm imagining so, yes. I don't know why they would keep it going, so I would say probably, yeah. Yep. So that's one of the downsides of shutting down a coal-powered plant, but there are upsides too, so, you know. But yeah. So hopefully you now have some tools and some resources to go and do some birding in the winter here in Ottawa County. Maybe there's some birds out there you never heard of. Go find them. There's a lot of resources out there, or a lot of places to see birds in the winter. And hey, if you want to be guided into that experience, that's what I'm here for 2 weeks from now. Today we're doing the bird feeders. In 2 weeks we can go out there and view the birds. Yes, one last question.
What is your presentation going to be? Where were you?
Aha! So we're getting into that. We'll do the door prize here in a second. Next month, I went to Slovakia in June to visit my brother, and I will tell that story on Tuesday night, this coming Tuesday night, at the Holland Audubon Club meeting. I will be giving a much shorter version of maybe just one of the stories next month from my trip to Slovakia. But if you want the whole story, or at least as much of it as I can fit into an hour or hour and 15 minutes, come 7 o'clock is the program start time, or 6:30 social time at Hope Church in Holland. And it runs till about 8:30. And I will be giving the presentation February 11th, this Tuesday, and you're welcome to join me. And isn't this the most incredible selfie I could ever take? All these birds. Yeah. So, but next month will be one of the stories from this presentation here. So, I need the names. Could you grab that for me, Noel? I forgot to ask. Because what we're going to do is we're going to give out some prizes here, and I'm going to turn this so that you can see me over here. There, I remembered to turn it. We've got some prizes up here, and for Mug Club members, if you've purchased your membership, your name is in the drawing for some of these prizes. First, we're running low on these, but the bird pins here. So if you like a bird pin, one name will be chosen to choose a bird pin, and the other will get this. I'm gonna change the name of this because it says squirrel proof big top bird feeder, but I'm gonna say it's squirrel resistant because that's generally how it goes. But it's kind of a cool feeder. You can see the picture there, and it's got some unique ways to keep the squirrels out, including a big umbrella thing on the top so that the squirrels can't get down to it. I think that's the gist of it. So first, let's go with the bird pin. Okay, see if it's somebody in person. If it's somebody online, since we do the online here, then I give those prizes to them when they come to the Nature Center. But I've got a name right here, Ryan LaRufa, and he is here because he's volunteering. Ryan won a bird pin. You can tell him. Ryan is a student at the Career Tech Center in the environmental class, and he's one of the volunteers here today. So this is a big thanks to Ryan for volunteering and our other volunteers. He's going to get a bird pin. We'll have him come up and select a pin. The feeder and a bag of seed from DeBrine's seed store right here. This is their Supreme Blend. This is the drum roll, please, right? We need a drum roll. I'm going to mix this all up. Got a lot of names in here, and I know he's here. At least he was. Where's Doug? Howersville. Doug, you get. I love it. We have somebody in the audience who won this time. All right. Congratulations, Doug.
Thank you.
Look at the camera and say hello.
All right. I never win anything.
You can't say that anymore, Doug. I knew he was here. I'd seen him earlier. So congratulations to Doug and Ryan. We went 2 for 2. Is Ryan? He's coming. All right, Ryan. Well, we can have him select it later if he's busy volunteering, right? We don't want to interrupt that. But I want to thank all of you online for joining us for the Birding Tidbits and for Coffee with the Birds, and all of you in person here. If you are headed out, thank you for coming. If you are headed into the wildlife den for the second feeder watching session, I will see you in a few minutes. Thank you so much for coming today.